visit some of our career tech programs and talk to our students and our teachers. I'm Shannon Donnelly. I am the admissions coordinator and the 9th grade assistant principal here. So I'm going to walk you through some general information about Essex Tech and also talk specifically about the application process. So you hopefully have visited most areas of the building. This should run about 20-25 minutes, so you'll still have about 35 minutes to still visit programs when we're done. So I'll try to be quick. So at Essex Tech, we have 17 member communities that are part of our district. We also take students from other towns in the Commonwealth. So the 17 member communities, I'm going to read them for those of you in the back that may not be able to see, are Beverly, Boxford, Danvers, Essex, Gloucester, Hamilton, Lynnfield, Manchester by the Sea, Marblehead, Middleton, Nahant, Peabody, Rockport, Salem, Swampscott, Topsfield, and Wenham. If you are a resident of one of our 17 member communities, you are eligible to study any of our 24 career tech programs. They are all available to you. Again, I still have a few seats up front. If anyone needs to sit for the presentation, please feel free. If you are a resident of one of our surrounding communities, and we do have students that come to Essex Tech from as far away as Dracut or Lowell or Salisbury, and traveling south as far as Cambridge or Boston, you are eligible to apply to Essex Tech, but you would be limited to the 8 agricultural or natural resource programs. So those programs are all of the plant and animal science programs, as well as landscape, arbor, and environmental technology. So there are still lots of options for students that are not part of our member district. I know you can't read this, it is on the website. This is information about our Mass Department of Ed advisory. So these are the regulations that apply to career and technical education. So just to kind of clarify a little bit, again, 9th graders that live in communities that are part of our member district are eligible for all 24 career tech programs. Students that live outside of the member district are eligible for the 8 agricultural and natural science programs. The reason for this is because of this advisory. So therefore, a student that, say, lives in Amesbury who wanted to study carpentry would need to go to Whittier to study carpentry. Even if we have a program like biotech that's not offered at Whittier, a student from Amesbury is not eligible to study biotech here at Essex Tech because they are not part of the member district. So there's a little bit of confusion around this. We're happy to field questions about residency at the end of the presentation if people have them. So if you haven't already visited the AB dining area, there are representatives there from all of our academic areas. So we are a level 1 school. We have all of our curriculum is aligned with the Massachusetts state frameworks, and students that come to Essex Tech do take MCAS, just like you would at your comprehensive high school. We have our graduation requirements. Students have to take and pass 4 years of English, math, science, social studies, and wellness. We have 4 levels of classes, the highest being AP. AP classes don't run in 9th grade, they begin in 10th grade and vary by department. We also have honors classes at all 4 grades, accelerated college prep, and college prep. We have foreign language in 2 grades, grade 11 and 12, and our foreign language that we offer is Spanish. And we are a 1-to-1 iPad school, so every student has an iPad. There are 3 options for iPads. Students can bring their own, they can purchase one through the school, or they can borrow one, so that it allows for everyone to have one. The good thing about the iPads is that, well, there are several good things, but some of the good things are that they allow us to not have students carry tons of textbooks. So we don't have students with 4 or 5 giant textbooks in their backpacks traveling from class to class. Most of our textbooks are online, and students can access them through the iPad. We also have lots of organization apps and assignments and things like that that students can use to organize themselves with the iPad, which is especially helpful for ninth graders. And we use Aspen as our student information system, and we are a Google school, so students can access those programs through the iPad as well. So again, any more information or questions that you have about academics, I would visit AB Dining before you go today. So as I said, we have 24 career and tech programs, and they are divided into 2 academies. So we have the East Academy, which is Plant and Animal Science and Technology and Service. And we have the West Academy, which is Life and Natural Science and Construction Technology. So hopefully you were able to visit most of these programs today, or at least the ones that you're interested in. If you haven't visited them yet and you're planning to, my best advice is to talk to our students. So they are the ones that can tell you the best about what it's like to be a student at Essex Tech. Ask them about how the lunches are, ask them how their bus ride is and how long they travel to get to school. Talk to them about what activities or athletics they participate in. So they are the ones that give you the most information about what it is like to be here at Essex Tech. So please don't be shy. For all the students in the room, ask away. That's what they're here for. They want to help. When students come in as ninth graders, the first thing that they do for career tech is that they do what we call career discovery. So career discovery is 1 week. Every student visits all 24 programs for one 70-minute block. So this includes students that are out of district and can only do the 8 agricultural programs. We still want them to get a feel for what Essex Tech is all about and what we offer. So that way, down the road, a student is in IT, they might have a friend that's an equine and they know a little bit about equine. Or they might have a friend that's a mason and they know a little bit about what happens in masonry. So it gives them the full Essex Tech experience and exposes them to things that they might not be familiar with. So that's the first week. After that, students choose their top 12 programs and are scheduled into 8 exploratory weeks. So this year, most students got at least their top 5, but some got their top 8. So students will then spend 1 week in 8 career tech programs. And they're not just watching, they're doing. So in culinary, they're cooking, they're working in the restaurant, they're working in the bakery. In auto, they're doing oil changes and fixing tires. So they are really living that program for 5 days to see if it's right for them. They get to meet with teachers, they get to engage with the juniors in those programs. So it gives them an experience of what it would be like to stay in that program. The 8 exploratory weeks bring us to the first week in January, and then students choose which program they'd like to stay with. And they are scheduled into those programs and begin the end of January, and then stay with that program through the rest of freshman year and the 3 following years. When students get to be juniors or seniors, they are eligible for co-op midway through junior year. So co-op allows students to work in their field. So they come to school for their academics and then go to work on the days that they would normally be in their career tech ed classrooms. So it's an awesome opportunity for students to come to school half the time and get paid to work in their field. We have a new full-time co-op coordinator who's done a fantastic job of placing our students this year. We currently have 80 seniors that are out on co-op, which is the highest number we've had at this point in the year since we opened in 2014. So in addition to our academic and our CTE programs, we have a full complement of student services to assist students, all students, but especially ninth graders in their transition to high school. We have 2 guidance counselors that work with just 9th grade students, and then we have 4 guidance counselors that work with grades 10 through 12. And they help with post-secondary planning and social-emotional needs as well. We have 2 nurses on staff, and we have a full special ed program, just like you would find in a comprehensive high school. We work on an inclusion model, so most classes have a general education teacher as well as a special education co-teacher right in the classroom. We do offer IEP, ELL, reading services. We also have PT and OT services as needed. If you have specific questions about our student service opportunities, please visit the DE dining area, and there are representatives from various departments and they can help answer any questions that you have. So because Essex Tech is not just about school, we also have a wide variety of athletic and activities for students. I know the font is really small on this slide and you won't be able to see it from the back. The point is just to show the number of opportunities we have for students outside of the academic day. We seem to add to our list of sports and activities every year. The list just gets longer and longer. Often if students come to Essex Tech and they're interested in a club that we don't have, there are ways to actually add a new club. They just need to find an advisor, and then we can run that club if we have enough interest. So in terms of our facilities, we do have a turf field, which is by the animal buildings if you happen that way, or by Arbor as well. So a turf field with a track. We also have 4 grass fields, 2 gymnasiums, one here connected to the main building and one across the street. Our gym here has a sky track up above, as well as a weight room and a fitness center. So those are used for sports, of course, but they're also used for our wellness classes. And we also have the Essex Sports Center up the road, where our hockey team has ice time. They've also been having open skate for students as well recently. So if you have specific information about activities or athletics, please visit the gym. We have lots of representatives there, coaches, advisors, and lots of students to talk about their experience with these programs. So this is a little bit of information about our graduates from the class of 2017. So about 67% went on to post-secondary education. So that includes 4-year colleges, 2-year colleges, and union programs. Many of our students have found that the experiences they've had here at Essex Tech, as well as their certificates that they leave here with, have sort of moved them along a little bit in their college path or in the military, and they've been able to sort of bump along a few levels in those programs. We had just over 1% go into the military, and about 30% started to work in their career fields. Some of that 30% that are currently working are also going to school at the same time. These are just some of the schools that our students have gone to over the last few years. Again, I know the font is small, but it's just to show that there's a wide range of schools. Some are local, Salem State, North Shore Community College, UMass, but some students travel. Some went to A&M, some are at University of Utah. So we have students that stay local, and we have students that travel away for school. So our guidance department does a fantastic job of helping students with this post-secondary planning. This post-secondary planning begins in grade 9. We don't start when students are juniors and seniors to talk about, well, what are you going to do when you graduate? We start early so that students and parents can help develop a plan for what's best for their child after graduation. So let's talk a little bit about the admissions process. So all of our application is available to all students online. I know there are paper copies that you may have picked up when you came in. You are more than welcome to fill out a paper application, that's fine, but I would strongly encourage you to do the online application. If you are interested in doing it today, before you go, one of our computer labs in the back of the room is open and available for you to actually sit down and apply, or you can do it from home. The little postcards that are also in the back of the room have information about how to go online and where to find the application. The benefits of the online application are that you will get a student and parent login that you can visit the site often and track the progress of the application. It also sends email notifications, so when you apply, you will get an email as the parent, student will get an email. It also sends an email to your student's middle school, letting them know that one of their students has applied. This is a really well-done system. It's fairly user-friendly, so I do encourage you to use the online system, but again, if the paper application is easier for you, that's fine too. So the application will ask sort of general information about the student and family. I'm going to actually jump ahead here. One important thing is for you to make sure you use your child's first, middle, and last name, their full name. Sometimes we have students with the same name, and it gets a little confusing with the applications. Also include the date of birth, please. For students, Please use a personal email address when doing the online application. If you use a middle school address, they often will block emails coming into the site. And once you leave middle school in June, you probably won't have access to that email anymore, and we may still want to reach out to you over the summer. So if you can use a personal email, that would be fantastic. There is a career technical interest survey. Basically, it asks what career tech programs you might be interested in. This is non-binding. It's just what you think you might be interested in right now. So you could check carpentry as your first choice, and then in September decide that carpentry is not for you. It's fine. It's just for us to get a little bit of an indicator of what students might be interested in prior to the start of the school year. There is a voluntary information section, and it is just that. It's totally voluntary. If you don't want to fill it out, you can just leave it blank. So once we get the applications, we will connect with the middle school. You do not need to go and get your students' records and follow up with the middle school. We will take care of that. We will ask for guidance counselors to fill out a recommendation rating. We do not need letters of recommendation. So often 8th graders will reach out to their guidance counselors and ask for a letter of recommendation. We don't need it. We had almost 1,300 applicants last year. We can't read 1,300 letters of recommendation, so we will not look at them. So please just ask the counselor, when the counselor gets our information, they'll fill out the rating. That's all we need. We do look at grades. So we will look at all of grade 7, and we will look at either the first semester or the first trimester of grade 8, depending on what your middle school does. If you are a school that has semesters, we'll look at the whole first semester. If you go to, say, Masco and they work on trimesters, we will just look at trimester 1. For grade 8, grade 7, it's the whole year. For attendance and discipline, we will again look at all of grade 7, and we will look at the first half of grade 8, so from September to January. And the guidance counselor will sign off on all of this. So the way that the applications are scored, it maxes at 110 points. So grades are 32 points, attendance is 8, discipline is 20, and the counselor rating is 10, and the interview is 40. So interviews are generally conducted at the middle school. So if we have more than about 10 students that apply, we'll send an interview team to the middle school. You will be notified ahead of time. We're not going to do it by surprise. The interview committee generally consists of our admissions counselors, our guidance counselors, and myself. We are all educators. Most of us are parents, so we know how stressful an interview can be, and that for many 8th graders this is the first experience with an interview. So we try to make it as user-friendly and stress-free as possible. So if you are in a school where we only have a couple of applicants, or a homeschooled student, we may reach out to you and schedule the interview here and have you come here to do the interview. Interviews will begin sometime in December, and with close to 1,200 applicants generally, it takes a long time to get through all of those interviews. So they will run all the way through February. So if you don't hear that your interview is scheduled yet, don't panic. It may not be until sometime in February that we come and do the interview at your school, all right? If you have specific questions about interviews, you can reach out to us. In terms of interview scheduling, you can reach out. We're happy to answer questions along the way. So students end up with a score out of 110 points. So notifications are sent somewhere between April 15th and April 20th. They generally arrive over April vacation, and I realize that is a long time to wait. So we've had several hundred applicants already, and we'll have a lot more starting today. So I realize that that's a long time to wait to get your acceptance. The problem is that it just takes time to process everything, to do all of the interviews and do all of the scoring. So in the middle of April, you should get a letter from us with conditional acceptance. It's conditional just based on successful completion of grade 8. So passing grade 8, being promoted to grade 9, specifically passing math and English. And then you'll get final confirmation of acceptance in July. Some students will not get accepted in the first round and will be waitlisted. Please hear me when I say that the waitlist is real. We do take students off the waitlist through the spring, through the summer, and even into the beginning of the school year. Some students get accepted, they say they're gonna come, and then throughout the summer they just change their mind, or circumstances change and they've decided not to attend Essex Tech. That opens a spot, we move to the wait list. In September or in August, we often have students that just don't show the first week of school and have decided not to come but didn't let us know. So again, that opens some spots. We will notify people on the wait list. So please keep that in mind. If you are waitlisted, there is a very good chance that we will call and say, we have a spot if you're interested. For students that are accepted, and are on an IEP, a 504, or have specific health concerns, we will do transition meetings. These are also scheduled through our admissions office with the middle schools and the families. So the meetings are run for IEP meetings with special ed staff, and for 504s through our admissions staff. So if this applies to you and you have specific questions, please feel free to stop at the student services area in the DE dining, and they can answer questions for you about transition meetings. So our contact information, there's a few ways to get a hold of us. Number one, all of the information that I talked about today is available on our website at www.essextech.net/admissions. Our email address is admissions@essextech.net, also available on the website, as well as our phone number. So if you have specific questions, if you want to check in on your application, or you're just confused about something, please feel free to check out the website or get in touch with us. Ms. Garabedian is our administrative assistant, and she's awesome. So she fields all of our phone calls and all of our emails, and she will get back to you if you have a question, or she will forward it to me and I will get back to you. So if you have any concerns or any bumps along the way that you just want to check with us about what's going on, please don't hesitate to check in. We're happy to answer questions. So this concludes my presentation. There are several guidance and